In a world enamored with the glint of gold and the sheen of superficial success, we often construct elaborate fortresses around our hearts, believing status and wealth are the ultimate guardians against loneliness and disillusionment. But what happens when true connection dares to breach those walls, arriving not in a designer suit, but in a simple uniform, challenging every preconceived notion of worth and love? This is a tale that invites us to peer beyond the polished facades and into the messy, often inconvenient truth of human emotion, asking if love, in its purest form, can truly thrive where societal expectations dictate it shouldn't. Our story unfolds within the opulent, almost intimidating expanse of Alex's mansion, a testament to his staggering wealth and relentless ambition. Alex, a titan of industry, embodied the archetype of the modern billionaire, sharp-featured, broad-shouldered, perpetually driven, and rarely seen without a furrowed brow of concentration. His world was a symphony of boardrooms, market analyses, and high-stakes decisions. Yet beneath this formidable exterior, a quiet compassion stirred, a subtle current of kindness known only to those who truly observed him. He was a man who, despite his immense fortune, carried the subtle weight of expectation and a quiet solitude that wealth could neither fill nor fully conceal. He had built an empire, but in doing so, perhaps inadvertently, he had also built a cage around his own heart, designed to protect it from the very vulnerabilities that make us human. He was perceived as unyielding, a force of nature in the business world, and he cultivated that image. Yet this very perception often kept people at arm's length, making genuine connection a rare and precious commodity. The dawn often found Alex already immersed in the relentless churn of his professional life. One particular morning, returning from an early, pivotal business meeting, the mansion felt less like a home and more like a brief respite between battlegrounds. He was mentally dissecting market trends, his tie already loosened in a subconscious gesture of weariness, his mind racing through strategies for the day ahead. His only thought was to reach his private office upstairs, where the quiet hum of his high-tech sanctuary awaited. He moved with the practiced efficiency of a man whose every second was meticulously accounted for, a human algorithm designed for optimal performance. As he neared his bedroom, his pace unwavering, a small, unexpected domestic interruption occurred. The bathroom door, which he hadn't even registered, suddenly swung open with a soft, almost imperceptible creak. And then, everything that Alex had meticulously categorized, filed away, and controlled ceased to matter. Stepping out was Anna, the quiet, efficient maid who had been a steady, almost invisible presence in his home for years. Her wet hair clung to her shoulders, droplets of water tracing paths down her neck and onto the pristine white towel that was her only garment, wrapped loosely around her body. The steam from her bath still clung to her, giving her skin a fresh, healthy glow, a stark contrast to the sterile, calculated environment Alex usually inhabited. She was caught entirely off guard, her eyes widening in a mixture of surprise and immediate mortification as she registered his presence. For a suspended moment, the world held its breath. Neither moved. Alex's own eyes, usually so calculating and composed, widened, reflecting a raw, unbidden reaction to the sight before him. It was a tableau of unexpected intimacy, a scene that shattered the carefully constructed boundaries of their employer-employee relationship. In that singular electric instant, Alex felt a primal jolt, a physical manifestation of surprise that bypassed his intellectual defenses. His heartbeat, usually a steady, controlled rhythm, surged, a frantic drum against his ribs. His mind, accustomed to rapid-fire analysis and strategic planning, went utterly blank. He, the man who commanded billions, was rendered speechless and disoriented by a simple human encounter. Anna, meanwhile, processed the sudden, shocking reality of the situation. a gasp escaped her lips, almost soundless, and her hands instinctively tightened the towel around her chest, a futile gesture against the sudden vulnerability she felt. I'm sorry, sir," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper, her cheeks flushing a vivid, undeniable red. "I thought you were still out." The words, though simple, underscored the chasm of their social roles, an immediate apology for a perceived transgression that was entirely accidental. Alex, wrestling with an unfamiliar wave of awkwardness and a strangely compelling fascination, cleared his throat. He tried, genuinely tried, to avert his gaze, to restore the professional distance that had always defined their interactions. But his eyes, seemingly independent of his will, kept darting back to her, drawn by an undeniable, almost magnetic force. It's okay," he managed, his voice a little rougher than usual. He forced himself to turn his back, a deliberate, if strained, act of granting her privacy, a small concession to the etiquette of the moment. "I didn't know you were, using the bathroom." The stammer, the hesitancy, the sheer disruption of his usual composure were all foreign to him. Anna, her heart a frantic hummingbird trapped within her ribcage, wasted no time. She darted back into the sanctuary of the bathroom, pulling the door shut behind her with a soft click. Leaning against it, she closed her eyes, trying to regulate her ragged breathing. The image of Alex's widened eyes burned into her memory. The boss, the imposing, unapproachable billionaire, had seen her like that. The implications, the embarrassment, the sheer unexpectedness of it all swirled within her. Outside the bathroom, Alex was equally discombobulated. The image of Anna, fresh from her bath, lingered stubbornly in his mind, refusing to be dismissed. He shook his head, a futile attempt to dislodge the memory, to regain his mental equilibrium. It was useless. A feeling he hadn't experienced in what felt like an eternity had resurfaced. Nervousness. This wasn't the pre-board meeting jitters or the adrenaline rush of a high-stakes deal. This was a visceral, unsettling flutter, an entirely personal and unexpected reaction. After a few moments, he forced himself to straighten his shirt, a ritualistic act of regaining control, and descended the grand staircase, trying to project an air of calm he certainly didn't feel. In his office, usually his fortress of focus, Alex found concentration elusive. His sophisticated monitors displaying complex financial reports seemed to blur, their data losing all meaning. His mind stubbornly, relentlessly, replayed the scene. Anna stepping out of the bathroom, her wet hair, the simple towel, her startled eyes. He rubbed his temples, a gesture of intellectual fatigue, but the fatigue was emotional, not mental. His assistant, Mr. Cole, a man of quiet perceptiveness, noticed the shift. "Sir, are you okay? You seem a bit distant today." Alex managed a forced, unconvincing smile. "I'm fine, Cole. Just tired, I guess." But even as the words left his lips, he knew they were a hollow fabrication. The truth was he had never considered Anna in such a way before. She was simply the maid, an efficient, unobtrusive part of the mansion's complex machinery, responsible for its immaculate order. But today, a switch had flipped. A new perception, an undeniable awareness, had taken root. Why did his heart race at the mere thought of her? Why did her image persistently eclipse the pressing demands of his empire? This wasn't about status or power. It was about something far more primal and confusing. This internal monologue highlights the universal experience of an unexpected attraction, challenging one's carefully constructed identity. Many successful individuals, especially those in Alex's position, compartmentalize their lives, believing that emotional vulnerability is a weakness. This incident shatters that belief, forcing him to confront a part of himself he had long suppressed. That evening, as the mansion settled into the quiet rhythm of dusk, Alex returned home. He found Anna meticulously dusting the living room shelves, her movements precise and graceful. She glanced up, their eyes meeting for a fleeting instant, and then she immediately looked away, her embarrassment palpable, a silent echo of the morning's encounter. Alex, for his part, tried to maintain an air of normalcy, to pretend nothing significant had transpired, but he couldn't help but notice her, truly notice her. Even in her simple maid's uniform, devoid of any adornment, there was a quiet beauty, an inherent grace that had previously escaped his notice. Anna, her head bowed, continued to avoid his gaze, consumed by her own anxieties. She didn't know if his silence was anger, awkwardness, or something else entirely. All she desired was for the incident to simply dissipate, to be absorbed back into the mansion's vast anonymity. Days bled into weeks, and Alex found himself increasingly, almost obsessively, attuned to Anna. He noticed the delicate care with which she handled the antique porcelain, the soft hum of a forgotten tune that sometimes escaped her lips as she cleaned. The way her shy smile, when it appeared, seemed to bring a subtle warmth and light into the vast, often sterile rooms. It was a profound shift in perception. He had seen her almost every day for years, a constant background presence. Yet now, he couldn't stop thinking about her presence a compelling foreground in his consciousness. This subtle shift illustrates how truly seeing someone can change everything, transcending the superficial barriers of daily interaction. It's a testament to the power of human observation and the way our minds can recalibrate our understanding of another person once a deeper, more personal connection is inadvertently forged. One evening, Alex, finding his courage, approached Anna as she was carefully arranging a fresh bouquet of flowers in a hallway vase. His voice, when he spoke her name, was softer, less authoritative than usual, a subtle tremor betraying his inner turmoil. "Anna," he began. She started, her hands trembling slightly, a petal falling from her grasp. "Yes, sir," she replied, her voice barely audible. I just wanted to apologize for that morning," he said, the words feeling clumsy, inadequate. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." Anna offered a shy smile, a fleeting gesture of reassurance. "It's okay, sir. It was my fault for not locking the door." They stood in an awkward silence, the air thick with unspoken sentiments, neither knowing how to navigate the sudden intimacy that had sprung between them. Alex wrestled with a powerful urge to confess the burgeoning feelings within him, but a formidable barrier of societal expectations and professional roles held him back. He was the boss, the billionaire. She was the maid. The chasm seemed too wide, too deeply ingrained in their respective realities. The internal conflict continued to plague Alex, even in the sanctum of his professional life. His thoughts, like rebellious children, kept drifting back to Anna, even during high-powered meetings. The intensity of his feelings baffled him. He tried to rationalize it, to dismiss it as a mere fleeting infatuation, a consequence of an unusual encounter, but his heart, stubborn and insistent, refused to listen to logic. He recognized that this wasn't merely about physical attraction. It was something deeper, more unsettling, and ultimately more compelling. It challenged his very identity as a man of reason and control. One afternoon, amidst the mundane task of signing documents, his phone rang. It was Cole, his assistant, a voice of familiar order in Alex's increasingly chaotic inner world. "Sir, we have a meeting with the investors at 2 p.m. Alex forced himself to respond with his usual composure. "Yes, I remember." After the call, he leaned back in his executive chair, a heavy sigh escaping his lips. Was he truly falling for Anna, his maid? The thought was a disorienting blend of excitement and profound confusion. He knew, intellectually, that he should control these feelings, that they were imprudent, perhaps even reckless given their disparate positions. Yet his heart, that unruly independent organ, seemed to possess a mind entirely its own. It yearned for something beyond the predictable trajectory of his gilded life, something authentic and untamed by the rigid structures of wealth and status. This narrative explores the classic trope of forbidden love, but with a modern twist, examining the psychological barriers faced by someone in a position of immense power. Back at the mansion, Anna, too, found her thoughts wandering. The memory of Alex's softened voice, his unexpected apology, replayed in her mind. Did he think less of her now? Was he angry? The uncertainty gnawed at her, adding a layer of subtle anxiety to her diligent performance of chores. Yet every time Alex returned home, he maintained his customary kindness and politeness, offering no outward sign of displeasure. This consistent gentleness, though, only deepened her confusion, stirring a quiet hope she barely dared to acknowledge. One evening, just as Anna was preparing to leave, Alex called her name. "Anna, can I talk to you for a moment?" She froze, a cold dread washing over her, bracing herself for the worst, a dismissal, a reprimand for an unstated offense. "Yes, sir," she managed, her voice tight with apprehension. Alex hesitated, the words catching in his throat, grappling with the profound weight of his unspoken feelings. I just wanted to say that you've been doing a great job. The house looks perfect." Anna's shoulders relaxed, a wave of immense relief washing over her, and a small, genuine smile touched her lips. "Thank you, sir." As she walked away, Alex watched her, his heart heavy with the weight of unexpressed emotion. He could no longer deny it. He had profound feelings for her. But the obstacles seemed insurmountable. What would she think? What would people say? The scandal, the gossip, the societal judgment, these were formidable adversaries. He had never found himself in such a precarious, emotionally charged situation. He knew, with absolute certainty, that he couldn't allow his feelings to jeopardize Anna's position or their fragile, unspoken connection. But how long, he wondered, could he possibly keep hiding a truth that resonated so deeply within him? The internal conflict for Alex here is particularly intense. As a billionaire, his life is under constant scrutiny. A relationship with his maid would be fodder for tabloids, potentially impacting his business reputation, and certainly challenging the carefully curated image he presents to the world. This is where the commentary about societal expectations and the invisible burdens of wealth becomes crucial. Many people believe money buys freedom, but for individuals like Alex, it often brings a different kind of imprisonment, where personal choices are constantly weighed against public perception. Days morphed into weeks, but Alex's preoccupation with Anna only intensified. His feelings, like an unstoppable tide, grew stronger, leaving him adrift in a sea of uncertainty. One evening, he sat in the living room, ostensibly reading a complex financial treatise, but his eyes, like magnets, kept straying to Anna as she meticulously dusted the shelves. The intellectual content of his book dissolved into a blur of meaningless words, replaced by the compelling clarity of her presence. It was a silent, internal battle he was losing, and secretly he didn't mind. Suddenly, the crisp sound of the doorbell fractured the quiet domestic scene. Anna, startled, moved to answer it, but before she could reach the grand entrance, the heavy oak door swung open with a theatrical flourish. In walked Vanessa, Alex's ex-girlfriend, a whirlwind of calculated glamour and brazen confidence. Her long, meticulously styled curly hair cascaded over the tight, scarlet dress that accentuated her every curve. A confident, almost predatory smile played on her lips. "Alex, darling!" Vanessa exclaimed, her voice dripping with an artificial sweetness as she rushed forward to embrace him. Alex stiffened, caught completely off guard, his carefully constructed composure momentarily dissolving. "Vanessa, what are you doing here?" he asked, his voice betraying his surprise. Vanessa pouted, a practiced gesture of feigned hurt. Is that how you greet your old flame? I missed you, baby." She attempted to kiss him full on the lips, but Alex, with a subtle, almost imperceptible shift of his head, diverted her efforts, making her lips land innocuously on his cheek. Anna, a silent observer of this sudden, unwelcome intrusion, quietly retreated to a corner, feeling like an intruder in her own workspace. Her heart, a fragile thing, sank a little as she watched Vanessa cling to Alex, a possessive hand on his arm. The sight stirred an unfamiliar pang of sadness within her, a silent recognition of her place, or lack thereof, in Alex's public world. "Vanessa, we broke up a long time ago," Alex stated, his voice now carefully controlled, a subtle hint of steel beneath the surface. Vanessa laughed lightly, a dismissive, airy sound. "Oh, come on, Alex, I was just confused back then. But I've changed. I know I hurt you, but I realized I made a mistake leaving you." Her words, though ostensibly an apology, carried an underlying current of entitlement, a belief that she could simply reclaim what she had discarded. As Vanessa spoke, Alex's eyes almost involuntarily drifted to Anna, who was now meticulously cleaning the ornate coffee table, her head bowed in quiet industry. Vanessa, sharp-eyed and acutely aware of Alex's subtle shifts in attention, noticed his distracted gaze. Her own eyes narrowed as she followed his line of sight, her gaze landing on Anna with a sudden, chilling intensity. "Who is she?" Vanessa asked, her tone now laced with an icy disdain. The sweetness abruptly vanished. "She's Anna, the maid," Alex replied simply, his voice devoid of any defensive tone, yet firm. Vanessa raised an exquisitely sculpted eyebrow, a gesture of thinly veiled contempt. "Oh, the maid. You seemed quite interested in her just now." Alex cleared his throat, attempting to brush off the insinuation, to restore a semblance of normalcy. "I was just checking if she needed help." Vanessa emitted a fake, brittle laugh, devoid of any genuine humor. "Really? You help your maid now? That's new." The implication was clear. This was beneath a man of his stature, an inappropriate familiarity. Anna, keenly aware of the escalating tension, kept her head down, feigning deafness, not daring to leave the room for fear of appearing rude or disrespectful. She felt exposed, vulnerable, an unwelcome pawn in a game she didn't understand. Vanessa, with a calculated predatory grace, walked closer to Anna, her eyes dissecting her from head to toe, her gaze dismissive. I see you've hired a pretty one. Is this why you haven't called me in months?" The accusation hung heavy in the air, dripping with malice. Alex's brow furrowed, his patience wearing thin. "Vanessa, stop it. Anna has nothing to do with us." Anna, finding an unexpected surge of quiet dignity, quickly spoke up. "I'm just doing my job," she said politely, her voice steady, though still not meeting Vanessa's hostile gaze. Vanessa smirked, a cruel twist of her lips. "Well, make sure you do it right. I don't want my Alex getting distracted by some maid." Anna's face burned with embarrassment, but she remained silent, her quiet strength a stark contrast to Vanessa's theatrical aggression. Alex, however, had reached his limit. "Vanessa, that's enough. Don't insult her. Anna is hardworking and respectful." Vanessa's eyes widened, a flicker of surprise mixed with mock indignation. "Wow, you're defending her now. Since when did you become so protective of your maid?" Alex found himself at a loss for words, trapped between his burgeoning feelings and the social impossibility of admitting them. He couldn't simply blurt out that seeing Anna every day made his heart race, that he couldn't stop thinking about her. The truth was too raw, too inconvenient for the carefully curated life he led. The dynamic here is a classic study in class distinction and unspoken social rules. Vanessa, representing the elite, automatically dismisses Anna based on her profession, reflecting a widespread prejudice that views service workers as invisible or beneath notice. Alex's defense of Anna is a significant turning point, indicating his growing emotional investment and his willingness to defy social norms, at least privately for her. This clash highlights the tension between established social hierarchies and the emergence of genuine human connection, making it a compelling narrative to analyze. Vanessa, reclaiming her theatrical composure, walked over to the opulent couch and settled herself with an air of absolute entitlement, crossing her legs. "Well, I'm staying for a few days. I missed you, and I'm not taking no for an answer," she announced confidently, sealing her declaration with a triumphant, self-assured smile. Alex didn't respond immediately, his mind reeling, trying to process the sheer audacity of her statement. Vanessa glanced at Anna again, her smirk returning, a thinly veiled threat in her eyes. "Since I'm staying, make sure my room is clean, little maid. I like it spotless," she said, her tone dripping with mockery and condescension. Anna, her shoulders slumping slightly, nodded quietly and hurried off, her dignity bruised, to prepare the guest room. As she walked down the long, echoing hallway, she couldn't help but feel a sharp pang of sadness, a dull ache in her chest. She didn't understand why seeing Alex with Vanessa made her feel so profoundly uneasy, so insignificant. She desperately tried to push the thoughts away, to deny the insidious tendrils of jealousy that were, unbeknownst to her, beginning to take root. This scene masterfully uses Vanessa's actions to highlight the vulnerability of Anna's position. Vanessa leverages her social standing and past relationship with Alex to exert dominance, not just over Anna, but indirectly over Alex himself, trying to reassert control. Anna's quiet compliance, though stemming from her professional role, underscores the power imbalance and the emotional toll it takes. This provides fertile ground for commentary on how social hierarchies can be weaponized in personal relationships. That night, sleep proved an elusive adversary for Alex. He tossed and turned in his king-sized bed, the luxurious sheets a tangled mess around him. Vanessa was back, an unwelcome specter from a past he thought he had buried, and she was behaving as if their painful history, particularly her infidelity, had never occurred. She was the one who had cheated, who had shattered his trust, yet she now returned with an air of absolute entitlement, as if she had the right to simply walk back into his life and reclaim it. His thoughts, however, kept drifting back to Anna. Why did his heart ache with a protective fury when he remembered Vanessa's demeaning words to Anna and Anna's quiet, dignified silence? He found himself replaying the scene, the subtle nuances of power and vulnerability, and it stirred in him a profound, almost paternal protectiveness. He realized that this wasn't just about his comfort. It was about something far more significant, Anna's inherent worth, which Vanessa so casually disregarded. The following morning, as Alex descended the grand staircase, his gaze immediately found Vanessa, ensconced at the dining table, her attention absorbed by her phone, a picture of indolent leisure. Anna, meanwhile, moved with quiet efficiency in the kitchen, preparing breakfast, her presence a stark contrast to Vanessa's opulent idleness. Vanessa looked up, a calculated smirk playing on her lips. "Morning, handsome. Did you miss me?" Alex pointedly ignored the comment, his focus unwavering as he walked directly into the kitchen. "Anna, do you need help with anything?" he asked, his voice gentle, a quiet rebellion against Vanessa's casual cruelty. Anna's eyes widened in surprise, unaccustomed to such an offer. "No, sir, I'm almost done. Thank you." From the dining area, Vanessa scoffed, her voice dripping with derision. "Since when do billionaires help with breakfast?" Alex's eyes flashed, clearly annoyed as he glanced at Vanessa. "Since when do ex-girlfriends invite themselves over?" Vanessa gasped, feigning deep hurt, a hand pressed to her chest. "Alex, that's not fair!" Ignoring her theatrical protest, Alex returned his focus to Anna, offering her a reassuring smile. "You're doing great, Anna." "Don't mind her," he whispered, his voice a low, comforting rumble. Anna gave a tiny nod, her cheeks warming with a faint blush, a subtle acknowledgement of his unexpected kindness. Vanessa, however, was not blind. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, had registered the unusual warmth in Alex's demeanor towards Anna, and a seed of suspicion, cold and bitter, took root in her heart. She couldn't fathom why Alex, a man of his caliber, would even cast a second glance at a mere maid. Convinced that Anna could only be a manipulative gold digger, Vanessa, fueled by a potent cocktail of jealousy and wounded pride, began to plot, her mind already spinning intricate webs of deceit. This morning's scene is crucial for illustrating the widening rift between Alex and Vanessa, and the strengthening, albeit still unspoken, bond between Alex and Anna. Vanessa's disdain for Anna is a direct reflection of her own insecurities and her reliance on social status. Alex's protective behavior, on the other hand, signals a profound shift in his values. Later that evening, Vanessa, her face composed into a mask of sweet innocence, found Anna diligently folding laundry in the utility room. Leaning against the doorframe, a picture of casual elegance, Vanessa's smile was disarmingly charming, but her eyes, cold and assessing, betrayed the true nature of her intentions. "So, Anna, how long have you worked here?" she asked, her voice light, deceptively friendly. Anna hesitated, sensing a hidden agenda. 2 years. Vanessa nodded slowly, a thoughtful expression on her face. "I see. You must know Alex pretty well by now. Tell me, has he been nice to you lately?" Anna, ever cautious, chose her words carefully. "Sir Alex is always kind." Vanessa emitted another one of her fake, brittle laughs, a sound that grated on Anna's nerves. "Oh, how cute. Just remember your place, okay? You're just a maid. Don't start getting ideas." Anna looked down, a wave of confusion and unease washing over her. She couldn't quite decipher the veiled threat, the insidious warning. Before she could formulate a response, Vanessa had already turned and walked away, leaving Anna feeling bewildered, hurt, and profoundly disquieted. This subtle psychological warfare employed by Vanessa is a common tactic used to undermine individuals in vulnerable positions. By planting seeds of doubt and fear, she attempts to assert her perceived dominance and warn Anna away from Alex. It's a cruel game, but one often played in hierarchical environments, highlighting the insidious nature of class prejudice. That same evening, when Alex entered the kitchen, he immediately noticed Anna's uncharacteristic quietness. Her usual quiet efficiency was overshadowed by a subtle melancholy, a subdued air that tugged at his growing concern. "Is everything okay?" he asked gently, his voice softened by genuine worry. Anna nodded but pointedly avoided his gaze. "Yes, sir. Everything is fine." Alex, however, wasn't convinced. He sensed an underlying distress, a veiled sadness that she was trying to conceal. He wanted to press further, to offer solace, but he also recognized her quiet, private nature and didn't want to push her into an uncomfortable confession. Instead, he resolved to discover the truth himself. He had a strong, unsettling premonition that Vanessa was orchestrating some new form of mischief. As he headed back to the living room, his suspicions were all but confirmed. He overheard Vanessa on the phone, her voice loud, boastful, and filled with a self-congratulatory air. He couldn't help but wonder if her sudden reappearance was driven by financial motives, a calculated attempt to reclaim a lost fortune. But more than that, his primary concern was for Anna, for the subtle hurt he perceived in her. He could no longer deny the powerful, insistent truth. He was falling for Anna, and the thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. He wrestled with the implications, with the societal expectations, but his heart, irrevocably committed, refused to yield to reason. This internal conflict marks a significant turning point for Alex. His concern for Anna now transcends mere employer-employee regard. It's personal, deeply felt, and signals a shift in his priorities from purely professional to profoundly emotional. After a few more days spent observing Alex within the confines of his opulent mansion, Vanessa's hopes of rekindling their past romance began to wane. Alex's polite but distant demeanor made it clear he harbored no such intentions. What truly vexed her, however, was the undeniable way Alex's gaze kept returning to Anna, a subtle yet unmistakable attraction that Vanessa found utterly intolerable. Her pride, already wounded by their past breakup, now festered with a bitter resentment. She couldn't stand being overlooked, especially not for someone she considered so utterly beneath them. One evening, seething in the lavish guest room, Vanessa picked up her phone and dialed her best friend, Clara. "Clara, I need your help," Vanessa hissed, her voice tight with frustration and barely suppressed fury. Clara chuckled on the other end, accustomed to Vanessa's dramatic pronouncements. "Vanessa, what's wrong this time?" "It's that Maid," Vanessa spat, the word laced with venom. "I'm sure Alex has feelings for her. I can't believe he's ignoring me for a lowly maid." Clara's laughter intensified, a brittle, mocking sound. "Really? Alex in love with a maid? That doesn't sound like him." Vanessa sighed dramatically, a sound of profound exasperation. "I know, but I've been watching him. He keeps staring at her, and he even defends her when I say something mean. It's like she has him under a spell." Clara's laughter subsided, replaced by a thoughtful silence. "Remember, Alex hates cheating," Clara reminded her, her voice now more calculating. "That's why he dumped you when he caught you with his friend." Vanessa rolled her eyes. "Don't remind me that was a mistake." Clara continued, her voice outlining a cunning strategy. "If Alex thinks Anna is cheating or has a boyfriend, he'll definitely lose interest. You just need to make him believe she's not as innocent as she seems." Vanessa's eyes gleamed, a wicked spark igniting within them. "But how? Anna is always at the mansion, cleaning or cooking." Clara smiled, a cold, calculating grin forming on her lips. "Follow her when she goes out. Make her look like she's seeing someone. Then we'll create a scene at the house and make it look like Anna is bringing her boyfriend over." Vanessa's grin mirrored Clara's, a shared moment of vindictive triumph. "You're a genius, Clara." This planning session is a masterclass in manipulative strategy, revealing Vanessa's desperation and moral bankruptcy. It's also an opportunity to comment on the destructive nature of jealousy and how it can warp perception, leading individuals to believe the worst in others to justify their own malicious actions. This manipulation directly violates the trust fundamental to any healthy relationship and is a common theme in social dramas. The following day, Vanessa became Anna's shadow, her watchful eyes tracking every move. Around noon, Anna, needing to replenish household supplies, left the mansion for the local market, a simple, everyday chore that Vanessa saw as an opportunity. Vanessa quickly called Clara, instructing her to meet nearby. They trailed Anna from a discreet distance, their covert operation beginning to unfold. Anna stopped at a small produce stand, carefully selecting ripe tomatoes, when a young man approached her, his face lighting up with recognition. "Anna, is that you?" the man asked, genuine surprise in his voice. Anna turned, her face breaking into a radiant smile. "Oh my goodness, Tommy, it's been so long." Tommy laughed, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "I can't believe it's really you. You've changed so much." Anna giggled, a genuine, uninhibited sound. "You too. What are you doing around here?" "I just moved to the area trying to find a job," Tommy replied. They stood there, engrossed in conversation, catching up on old times, sharing snippets of their lives. Anna spoke of her work as a maid in a grand mansion, of her daily routines and quiet existence. Tommy seemed genuinely happy to see her, his demeanor open and friendly. Hidden behind a nearby stall, Clara, with a cunning efficiency, snapped several candid photos of Anna and Tommy, their faces wreathed in smiles, their body language conveying a natural, easy familiarity. Vanessa, observing from a distance, smirked. Perfect. Now we just need to make him look like her boyfriend. After Anna bid Tommy farewell and continued her shopping, Clara, a master of calculated charm, approached Tommy. "Hey there," Clara said sweetly, her voice as smooth as silk. Tommy, looking confused, asked, do I know you?" Clara smiled, her expression disarmingly innocent. "No, but I couldn't help but notice you talking to Anna. She's a good friend of mine. I was just wondering if you could do me a small favor." "What kind of favor?" Tommy asked cautiously, a hint of suspicion in his voice. Clara leaned closer, her voice dropping conspiratorially. "There's a little party at her boss's mansion tomorrow. I want to surprise her by inviting you. You just need to pretend to be her boyfriend, just for fun. She always talks about you." Tommy's eyes widened. "Anna talks about me?" Clara nodded emphatically. "Oh, yes. She really likes you. It would make her so happy if you showed up. Just say you were passing by and wanted to check on her." Tommy, flattered and unsuspecting, smiled shyly. "Well, if it will make her happy, sure." Clara provided him with the mansion's address and Vanessa's number, instructing him to text when he arrived. As soon as Tommy departed, Clara and Vanessa exchanged a triumphant high five. "Once Alex sees that Anna has a boyfriend, he'll definitely lose interest," Vanessa declared, a wicked grin spreading across her face. This detailed description of the setup not only advances the plot, but also serves as an excellent opportunity to dissect the psychology of manipulation. Tommy, an innocent bystander, is easily exploited due to his inherent kindness and natural human desire to make a friend happy. This highlights how manipulative individuals can prey on genuine emotions to achieve their selfish ends, a stark contrast to the genuine connection Alex and Anna are slowly building. That evening, when Alex returned from the relentless demands of his work, Vanessa greeted him with an uncharacteristic, almost saccharine warmth. "Hey, Alex," she purred, her voice sweet and inviting. "I thought maybe we could have a little get-together tomorrow. Just a few friends. You've been working so hard. You deserve a break." Alex looked hesitant, his mind still preoccupied with the day's stresses and the nagging feeling of unease about Anna. "I'm not sure, Vanessa. I have a lot on my plate right now." Vanessa pouted, a practiced expression of charming disappointment. "Come on, just for a few hours. It'll be nice." Reluctantly, worn down by her persistence and the desire for a momentary distraction, Alex agreed. The next day, Vanessa orchestrated the party with meticulous care, making sure Anna was kept busy, her presence essential but unobtrusive, arranging drinks and snacks, a quiet backdrop to the social theater. Just as the party was in full swing, a crescendo of polite chatter and clinking glasses, the doorbell rang. Vanessa, her heart thrumming with anticipation, hurried to answer it. There stood Tommy, looking a little nervous, perhaps slightly out of place amidst the mansion's grandeur. "Come in," Vanessa greeted him cheerfully, her voice a pitch higher than usual, a subtle tremor of triumph underlying her hospitality. As Tommy stepped inside, Anna, carrying a tray of sparkling juices, spotted him. Her eyes widened in genuine surprise, a flash of confusion crossing her face. "Tommy, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice tinged with bewilderment. Tommy smiled, still a little shy. "I was just passing by and thought to check on you. You said you work here, right?" Before Anna could even formulate a coherent response, Vanessa smoothly interjected, her voice loud enough to carry across the room, ensuring all present could hear. "Oh, Anna, you didn't tell us you invited your boyfriend. How sweet!" Anna's cheeks flushed a vivid crimson, mortification washing over her. "No, he's not my boyfriend. He's just an old friend." But Vanessa, sensing victory, wasn't finished. She raised her voice, her tone now deliberately patronizing. "You don't have to hide it. We all have a past, right? It's nice that your boyfriend came to see you." Alex, who had been engaged in polite conversation with a guest, overheard Vanessa's pointed remarks. He turned, a frown creasing his brow, his gaze landing on Anna with a mixture of confusion and a familiar, unwelcome pang of jealousy. Anna, flustered and trapped, tried to explain, but her words became a tangled mess, her distress making articulation impossible. Tommy, utterly oblivious to the carefully constructed drama, compounded the misunderstanding by casually placing an arm around Anna's shoulder, a gesture of innocent camaraderie that, in this context, appeared damning. "You look good, Anna. It's been a while." Vanessa's smile widened, a victorious, cruel twist of her lips, as she observed Alex's face harden, his expression turning cold. He said nothing, his silence more potent than any words, and simply turned and walked away, seeking refuge in the quiet solitude of the garden. Anna, mortified and deeply hurt, pushed Tommy's hand off her shoulder, trying desperately to regain her composure. "Tony, you should go. I didn't invite you. There must be a misunderstanding." Tommy looked genuinely confused. "But your friend said you'd be happy to see me." Anna bit her lip, a sickening realization dawning upon her. Someone had deliberately set her up. Vanessa, meanwhile, sipped her drink, a picture of false innocence, her eyes betraying a hint of triumph. In the garden, Alex sat heavily on a stone bench, his chest tightening with a suffocating mix of anger and betrayal. He couldn't comprehend the intensity of his rage. Anna was free to have a boyfriend, of course, but why did the sight of her with another man inflict such profound pain? It was an irrational, visceral reaction that defied his usual composure. Vanessa, with her uncanny ability to sense vulnerability, appeared beside him, settling herself gently on the bench. "Alex, are you okay?" she asked, her voice laced with feigned concern. He didn't respond, lost in his tumultuous thoughts. Vanessa continued, her words carefully chosen to fan the flames of his jealousy. "I guess Anna isn't as innocent as she seems. You know how some girls are, acting sweet but secretly meeting guys behind your back." Alex clenched his fists, struggling against the insidious tendrils of jealousy and doubt that threatened to consume him. Was Vanessa right? Had Anna, with her quiet dignity and gentle demeanor, been fooling him all this time? The thought was a bitter pill. He couldn't shake the image of Anna and Tony, the easy familiarity, the arm around her shoulder. He sat alone in the garden, his thoughts a chaotic storm, battling the deeply uncomfortable truth that Anna's supposed betrayal hurt him more than he cared to admit. Vanessa, observing Alex's distress, couldn't suppress a small, triumphant smile. Her plan was working flawlessly. This elaborate setup is a classic example of character assassination through rumor and manufactured evidence. Vanessa preys on Alex's nascent feelings for Anna, knowing that jealousy, when combined with insecurity, can be a powerful weapon. This segment allows for a deeper exploration of trust and suspicion in relationships, especially when one party is vulnerable to external manipulation. It also touches upon the common societal narrative of gold diggers, which Vanessa deliberately invokes to discredit Anna, using a stereotype to mask her own malicious intent. Inside the mansion, Anna was still reeling, trying desperately to unravel the perplexing mystery of Tony's unexpected appearance. She hadn't invited him, and she was certain she hadn't mentioned the party to anyone. Tony, now realizing the depth of the misunderstanding and the discomfort he had inadvertently caused, apologized profusely. "I'm sorry, Anna. A lady outside the grocery store told me you would be happy to see me here. I didn't mean to cause trouble," Tony explained, genuine regret etched on his face. Anna sighed, her distress momentarily tempered by his sincerity. "It's okay, Tony. You didn't know. I didn't expect you to come. That's all." As Tony, now visibly embarrassed, made his exit, Vanessa glided over to Anna, a syrupy fake smile plastered on her face. "Oh dear, Anna. Didn't know you had a secret boyfriend. You must really like him to bring him to the party." Anna frowned, her patience wearing thin. "He's not my boyfriend. We're just old friends. Vanessa laughed, a condescending, knowing sound. Right. Just make sure you don't break Alex's heart, okay? Anna felt a chill run down her spine. The implied threat, the underlying malice in Vanessa's words, left her profoundly uneasy. What exactly did Vanessa mean by that? The following morning, Anna immediately sensed a palpable shift in the atmosphere. Alex, usually so consistent in his quiet greetings, walked past her without so much as a glance, his face unreadable, his demeanor cold and distant. A sharp pang of hurt pierced Anna's heart. Had she done something wrong? The silence from him was louder than any accusation. She yearned to ask, to understand, but a wave of fear and trepidation held her back. Throughout the day, Alex meticulously avoided Anna, retreating to his office, burying himself in work, his avoidance a deliberate, painful barrier. Vanessa, ever watchful, seized the opportunity, subtly positioning herself closer to him, acting as a confidant. "Alex, why are you so down? Is it because of that maid?" Vanessa asked, her voice laced with feigned concern, a performance designed to reinforce her narrative. Alex looked up, his eyes still clouded with a mixture of confusion and hurt. "I don't know, I didn't think Anna would have a boyfriend." Vanessa sighed dramatically, a practiced performance of compassionate disappointment. "Alex, you're too kind. Some girls are just like that. They play sweet and innocent, but they have secrets. You should just forget about her." Alex tried to nod, to agree with her pragmatic counsel, but his heart, stubborn and defiant, refused to comply. The raw, searing pain of jealousy he felt was a potent, undeniable truth, an emotion he couldn't simply dismiss. Anna, meanwhile, found Alex's sudden coolness unbearable. It was as if she had become invisible again, erased from his awareness. This painful rejection spurred her to action. She couldn't endure the uncertainty any longer. That evening, summoning every ounce of her quiet courage, she knocked softly on his office door. "Come in," Alex's voice responded, flat and devoid of warmth. Anna stepped inside, nervously twisting her apron in her trembling hands. "Sir, did I do something wrong?" Alex didn't look at her, his gaze fixed on some distant point. "No. Why would you think that?" Anna took a deep breath, her voice wavering slightly. "You've been avoiding me all day. Did I upset you somehow?" Alex finally turned, his eyes locking with hers, a complex mixture of hurt and anger swirling within their depths. "Why didn't you tell me you had a boyfriend?" Anna's mouth dropped open, utterly stunned. "Boyfriend? I don't have a boyfriend. Then who was that guy at the party?" Alex demanded, his voice firm, tinged with accusation. Anna's mind raced, connecting the dots. "Oh, Tony, no, sir. He's just a friend from my old neighborhood. I didn't even invite him. He just showed up." Alex hesitated, a flicker of doubt crossing his features. "Vanessa said he was your boyfriend. He put his arm around you like he was." Anna's face flushed crimson, a mixture of embarrassment and indignant frustration. "That's not true. I swear, sir. I didn't know he was coming. Someone must have told him to be there." Alex studied her intently, searching for any telltale sign of deception. Anna's eyes, wide and earnest, held no guile, only a profound confusion and genuine distress. After a long, agonizing pause, Alex let out a weary sigh. "Okay, I believe you." Anna's heart, which had been pounding like a drum, slowly relaxed. "Thank you, sir. I would never lie to you." Just as they were speaking, Vanessa, unable to resist, peered through the slightly ajar door, her lips pressed into a thin, frustrated line. Her carefully laid plan, she realized with a bitter taste in her mouth, was not working as perfectly as she had envisioned. This confrontation is the dramatic turning point, where direct communication finally breaks through the layers of manipulation and misunderstanding. Alex Alex's willingness to listen, despite his jealousy, demonstrates his growing trust in Anna and a nascent maturity in handling emotional complexities. It also highlights the stark difference between Anna's honesty and Vanessa's deceit. Later that night, Vanessa, her fury barely contained, called Clara again. It didn't work. Alex actually believed Anna. He's still defending her. Clara groaned, a sound of exasperated frustration. Maybe you need to step up the game. If one guy isn't enough, why not make it look like Anna has more than one boyfriend? Vanessa paused, a diabolical idea taking root in her mind. You're right. If Alex sees Anna with another man, he won't be able to ignore it. Clara chuckled, a wicked conspiratorial sound. Exactly. Make him think she's playing around. Men hate that. Vanessa grinned, her eyes gleaming with renewed malice. You're a genius, Clara. I know just what to do. Vanessa waited until Alex was safely ensconced at work before sneaking out of the mansion. Her mission now even more insidious. She tracked down Tony at a nearby cafe, approaching him with a disarming smile. Hey, Tony, she purred, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. I wanted to thank you for coming yesterday. Anna was so happy to see you. She lied effortlessly. Tony, still a little bewildered by the previous day's events, smiled shyly. Really? She didn't seem too happy. Vanessa waved a dismissive hand. Oh, that's just how she is. By the way, do you know any other guys Anna might be friends with? We're planning another little surprise for her. Tony, completely unsuspecting, thought for a moment. Well, there's Kelvin. He used to hang out with us back in the village. Vanessa's eyes lit up, a cruel gleam in their depths. Perfect. Do you know how I can reach him? Tony, trusting and naive, gave her Kelvin's number without a second thought. Vanessa thanked him effusively and hurried back to the mansion, her mind already racing, meticulously planning her next move, convinced that this time her scheme would be foolproof. This escalation of Vanessa's manipulation underscores her deep-seated insecurity and her inability to accept rejection gracefully. She's moving from simply discrediting Anna to actively trying to destroy her reputation, which can be seen as a commentary on the destructive nature of unchecked jealousy and the lengths to which some individuals will go to maintain control or assert dominance. The ease with which she deceives Tony and Kelvin also highlights a common flaw in human nature, our susceptibility to flattery and our desire to be helpful, even when it leads us into unwittingly aiding malicious schemes. Vanessa wasted no time. She called Kelvin, adopting a cheerful, friendly demeanor, pretending to be a mutual friend of Anna's. She spun a convincing tale about how Anna had been speaking of him fondly, expressing a strong desire to see him at the mansion. She embellished the story with details of a small, intimate gathering, and Kelvin, genuinely flattered and eager to reconnect, happily agreed to come. When Alex returned from work, Vanessa put on her most convincing performance yet, her face a mask of feigned sadness and concern. Oh, Alex, you'll never guess. Anna's other boyfriend just called. He's coming over to see her. Alex's brow furrowed, a chilling sense of déjà vu washing over him. Another boyfriend? He asked, his voice laced with suspicion and a fresh wave of internal turmoil. Vanessa nodded, her eyes wide with carefully rehearsed sorrow. I didn't want to believe it either, but it seems like she's seeing multiple guys. I just thought you should know. Alex's chest tightened again, a familiar knot of anger and confusion forming in his stomach. Could it truly be true? Or was Vanessa, with her insidious whispers, merely stirring up trouble, exploiting his vulnerabilities once more? The seeds of doubt, once planted, were difficult to uproot. The next evening, Vanessa was brimming with a chilling confidence. She had meticulously arranged for both Tony and Kelvin to arrive at the mansion simultaneously, believing that the sheer visual impact of Anna with two men would be irrefutable proof of her duplicity, finally convincing Alex that Anna was playing him for a fool. Around 7 p.m., The doorbell rang, its chimes echoing through the grand hall. Vanessa, her heart pounding with a perverse excitement, practically flew to open it. Tony and Kelvin stood on the doorstep, both looking a little bewildered, clearly unsure of what exactly they had been invited to. "Hey, are we late?" Tony asked, his eyes scanning the opulent entrance. "No, you're just in time. Come in," Vanessa said, her voice dripping with a sly, triumphant cheerfulness. As they stepped inside, Anna emerged from the kitchen, carrying a tray laden with juice glasses, her movements still graceful, but her mind preoccupied with her duties. Her eyes widened in pure astonishment when she saw the two men standing in the foyer. "Tony, Kelvin, what are you both doing here?" she asked, completely baffled, the tray almost slipping from her grasp. Before either man could respond, Alex walked in from the hallway, drawn by the unexpected commotion. His face, usually a mask of calm authority, turned serious, almost grim, when he saw the two young men standing in close proximity to Anna, a scene that, to his still doubting eyes, appeared damning. "What's going on here?" Alex asked, his voice calm, but with an unmistakable edge of firm authority that silenced the room. Vanessa, seizing her moment of perceived triumph, quickly interjected, her voice dripping with feigned shock and accusation. "Oh, Alex, it seems Anna has invited both of her boyfriends to the mansion. Isn't that something?" Anna looked at Vanessa, her face a mask of shock and disbelief, a sudden dawning horror gripping her. "What are you talking about? They are not my boyfriends." Tony and Kelvin exchanged confused glances, the accusation clearly baffling them. "Boyfriends? Anna never said that. I was told she wanted to see me," Tony explained, his voice laced with genuine bewilderment. Kelvin nodded in agreement, his confusion mirroring Tony's. "Yeah, I got a call saying Anna missed me and wanted me to come over." Anna's mouth dropped open, the pieces of the puzzle falling into place with a sickening clarity. "I didn't call you. I didn't invite anyone." Alex, his eyes narrowing, turned his piercing gaze on Vanessa, a dawning suspicion eclipsing his initial anger. "Vanessa, did you set this up?" Vanessa's face went pale, her carefully constructed facade beginning to crack. "Of course not," she stammered, her voice betraying her. Tony, emboldened by the truth, spoke up, pointing an accusing finger at Vanessa. "Actually, that lady over there invited us. She said Anna wanted to see us." Kelvin nodded vigorously in agreement. "Yeah, she gave us the address and everything." Anna, her eyes now blazing with disbelief and a deep sense of betrayal, turned to Vanessa. "You set me up. Why would you do that?" Alex's fists clenched, his anger now directed squarely at Vanessa, a cold fury replacing the jealous confusion he had previously felt. "Vanessa, you lied to me. You tried to ruin Anna's reputation just because you're jealous." Vanessa, desperate, tried to salvage her rapidly crumbling position. "Alex, I was just trying to protect you. She's just a maid. You deserve someone better." Alex shook his head, profound disappointment clouding his eyes, his voice resonating with a newfound clarity and resolve. "You know, I kept giving you chances to prove that you've changed, but you're still the same selfish person. I should have never let you back into my life." Vanessa, tears now streaming down her face, reached out, attempting to grasp his hand. "Please, Alex, I did it because I love you." Alex pulled his hand away, his rejection definitive. "No, Vanessa, you don't love me. You just hate losing. I still don't know why I believed you. Please pack your things and leave my house." Vanessa's eyes, filled with a mixture of rage and defeat, searched his face. "You're choosing her over me?" "Yes," Alex said firmly, his voice ringing with conviction. "Because Anna is kind, honest, and doesn't play mind games. I can't believe I ever doubted her because of you." Defeated, humiliated, and utterly exposed, Vanessa stormed out of the mansion, her reign of manipulation over. This climax is the ultimate triumph of truth over deceit. It highlights the destructive nature of manipulation and the importance of trusting one's instincts and the character of others. Alex's evolution from a man blinded by jealousy to one who sees through the lies and stands up for what is right is a powerful lesson. His final words to Vanessa are a clear statement of his values, emphasizing kindness and honesty over superficial charm and status. The commentary here can delve into the psychological impact of being manipulated, the importance of boundaries, and the courage it takes to confront toxic individuals, even when they are part of one's past. Once Vanessa was gone, the air in the mansion seemed to clear, as if a heavy, oppressive cloud had lifted. Alex took a deep, cleansing breath and turned to Anna. She was still standing there, looking utterly confused, deeply hurt, and profoundly shaken by the recent whirlwind of accusations and revelations. "Anna," he said softly, his voice gentle, filled with a tenderness she hadn't heard before. She looked up at him, her eyes wide, unsure of what to say, what to feel. "Sir, I didn't know they would come here. I never invited them," she whispered, her voice still trembling slightly, a desperate plea for understanding. Alex walked closer, his movements deliberate, reassuring, and gently took her hands in his. His touch was warm, comforting, an anchor in her storm of emotions. "I know. I believe you. I'm sorry I didn't trust you right away. I was just jealous." Anna's eyes widened, a flicker of disbelief and dawning understanding in their depths. "Jealous? Why would you be jealous?" Alex smiled softly, a genuine, heartfelt smile that reached his eyes, erasing the lines of stress and severity that usually marked his face. "Because I care about you, Anna, more than I should. I tried to ignore it, to fight it, but I can't anymore. Seeing you with those guys made me realize that I don't want to lose you." Anna's heart pounded, a frantic drumbeat against her ribs. The implications of his confession, the sheer weight of his words, were almost overwhelming. "Sir, you mean—" Alex cupped her face gently in his hands, his touch tender, his gaze unwavering. "Anna, I've been trying to hide it, to rationalize it. But the truth is, I've fallen for you. Your kindness, your quiet strength, your beautiful smile, the selfless way you care about everything around you. It's made me love you. I don't care if you're a maid or a princess. I just want to be with you." Tears, hot and undeniably happy, welled in Anna's eyes, blurring his earnest face. "I never thought you would feel that way. I care about you too." Alex leaned in slowly, giving her every opportunity to pull away, to decline this profound, life-altering moment. But Anna didn't move, her gaze locked with his, her heart soaring. Their faces were mere inches apart when Alex whispered, his voice hoarse with emotion, "May I?" Anna, a soft, radiant smile gracing her lips, nodded, her answer a silent, unequivocal affirmation. Gently, Alex pressed his lips to hers in a sweet, tender kiss, a shared breath, a promise of a future. Anna felt her heart flutter, a giddy, exhilarating sensation, as she kissed him back, her hands still trembling slightly, finding purchase in his. When they finally pulled away, a comfortable, breathless space between them, Alex smiled warmly, his eyes shining with a deep, abiding happiness. "I promise I'll never doubt you again." Anna laughed softly, a sound of pure joy, "and I promise to always be honest with you." The next morning, the entire mansion felt lighter, as if a dark, oppressive cloud had finally dissipated. The staff, usually discreet and observant, couldn't help but notice the radiant happiness that now emanated from Alex. And Anna, too, moved with a newfound lightness, a glowing smile gracing her lips. Alex, defying the relentless demands of his empire, took the entire day off work, his sole purpose to spend time with Anna. They talked for hours, sharing stories, dreams, and vulnerabilities, laughing freely, and planning how to navigate this unexpected, wonderful new chapter of their lives. Alex no longer cared what superficial society would think, what the tabloids might speculate. He knew with absolute certainty that he wanted Anna in his life, not as merely his maid, but as his beloved, his partner, his true north. That evening, they strolled hand in hand through the sprawling, verdant garden, enjoying the quiet intimacy of each other's company under the soft glow of the setting sun. As they stood beneath the vibrant canopy of blooming flowers, Alex squeezed Anna's hand gently. "You have no idea how happy you make me." Anna blushed, her heart still full of wonder. "I never thought someone like you would ever notice me." Alex kissed her forehead tenderly. "You're special, Anna. Don't ever doubt that." From that day forward, they made no attempt to hide their profound feelings for each other. Alex, with a quiet strength and conviction, made sure everyone understood that Anna was no longer merely his maid. She was his love, his happiness. The woman who had, against all odds and expectations, taught him a profound, indelible lesson. That true love isn't about status or wealth, not about superficial appearances or societal acceptance, but about the bedrock principles of kindness, honesty, and an unwavering, authentic connection. Love, he learned, triumphs over lies, over prejudice, over the artificial constructs of class. And Alex, the jaded billionaire, learned that sometimes the person you least expect, the one hidden in plain sight, can be the very soul who changes your life forever, opening your heart to a depth of feeling you never knew existed. As for Vanessa, consumed by her own bitterness and ego, she never dared to attempt a return, fully aware that she had not only lost a battle, but an entire war, utterly defeated and humiliated. And Anna, the quiet maid, finally found the happiness she never thought she deserved, a profound joy that stemmed from her unwavering integrity and her steadfast commitment to her true self. A year later, in a ceremony filled with genuine warmth and love, Alex and Anna were married, embarking on a life together, living happily ever after, a testament to a love that defied all expectations and transcended all societal boundaries. This story is a powerful reminder that true value lies not in the material possessions we accumulate or the social status we achieve, but in the intangible qualities of character, integrity, and genuine human connection. In a world often obsessed with outward appearances, Anna and Alex's journey teaches us that the greatest riches are found in the honesty of a heart, the kindness of a spirit, and the courage to love authentically, irrespective of the labels society attempts to impose. It encourages us to challenge our own biases, to look beyond the surface, and to recognize the inherent worth in every individual. For it is often in the most unexpected places that we find the most profound and transformative love.